أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my brothers and sisters in Islam. Inshallah, we will continue now looking at some of the details of the period of boycott that happened to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But it's important to know some of the events that took place leading up to the boycott, and in fact why the Quraysh felt they had to do this boycott to the Prophet ﷺ and his family and his tribe, so that they could try and curtail and prevent and stop the message of Islam spreading. Now, before this had already happened, the tactics they had employed was through mockery. So for example, the Quraysh used to go up to the Prophet ﷺ and say, could they send anyone better to send than you? You know, why not someone who's a leader of a tribe? Why not someone who's very rich? Why did they have to send like someone like you? They used to also insult him physically, like harm him. So for example, Utbah ibn Mu'az, when the Prophet ﷺ was in front of the Kaaba, he poured intestines over the Prophet ﷺ, over his ennobled body, to disgrace him and to make him look bad. And so these are the kind of tactics that the Quraysh employ to try to stop the people from rushing and coming to Islam. But I think it's important to note here from the previous videos that we've done is to understand that the Prophet ﷺ was not thinking that the dawah to the tribal leaders of Quraysh was aimed at someone just converting to Islam, because a lot of the time nowadays in the dawah we have a situation where people are calling to Islam and basing their aims and objectives on how many shahadas have you got, how many shahadas did you get in the public schools. And the Prophet ﷺ, though he is obviously conveying the deen and we should want every single person to be a Muslim, the conversion of people, the hidayah is actually with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that the conversion of people is not the strategy of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to establish Islam. This is not the strategy he's employing. The reason why he is going against the norms of that society is because the norms of that society are based on laws and systems as well as their gods. They're all man-made. And for that reason, he is conveying to them the creed and system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent mankind, not just for the Quraysh, but the whole of mankind, not just for a specific tribe or specific qawm or nation, but for every single nation. This is the model from now until Yawm al-Qiyamah. So this is important to note, that the Prophet ﷺ's strategy was not to just get shahadas. And so obviously it caused him great pains that some of these relatives of his and some of the notable people in the Quraysh were treating him in such a bad manner, when he himself wanted them to come to Islam, so that when they could implement Islam, these people would not be against it. Now, also some of the other tactics that they employed were through defamation. So for example, they used to claim that the Prophet ﷺ came with a Quran that was a rehash of old stories, even though they know it wasn't true. And another tactic that they employed, other than mockery, insulting, harming, defamation, was temptation and trying to buy the Prophet ﷺ. So they said to him, if you want money, we'll give you all the money you want. We'll make you the richest person amongst the Quraysh. If you want to be a king, we'll make you a king, on condition that it's our laws. You see, they offered power to the Prophet ﷺ. Neither did he want power for power's sake, but rather we want authority for the sake of implementing Islam. And unfortunately today we have situations where we justify Muslims taking power first for the sake of power, and then arguing why they don't need to, in their circumstances, implement Islam. And this is very unfortunate. Also, they offered him women. They said, if you want women, we'll give you the best women. If you want doctors, we'll give you doctors. They offered him pretty much everything. The Prophet ﷺ made it very clear that these are not any of the things he needs. These are not any of the things that he has come for. So what did he come for? Because it seems that they have given the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ permission to pray, to fast, to practice the religion on an individual level. They've even offered to share power. They've even offered to give him full power as long as it's based on their laws. So what does the situation tell us? When we said we need to look at pre-Islamic Arabia, we will understand, from understanding what is the Jahili society, we will understand the deen and how it fixes that. You see, this is not a new concept. Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he himself said that in his own speech, where he said, I fear for the next generation. This is after he became Khalifa. He said, I fear for the next generation who will not understand Jahiliyyah. And another time he said that the ones who do not know what Jahiliyyah is, they will invariably be the ones that fall into it. SubhanAllah, these are wise words from Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, clearly stating that for us to know what is the haqq, we have to know what we negate first. We have to break ideas and then we must build upon them. SubhanAllah, even the shahada is a situation where we first negate to say there is no ilah, and then after that we say except illallah. We say except Allah. So we negate all other beings or deities or anything that we may perceive as worth deification or worship or ubudiyah, obedience to, anything, and we say except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this breaking the understanding of the West and then building why Islam is a solution is a thing that even from the very shahada, this idea stems from this point. And subhanAllah, today we have people arguing about sects that existed 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 300 years ago, and we don't address the problems of freedom, democracy. These are the ideas that if Ibn Taymiyyah, may Allah be pleased with him, or Imam Ghazali or any of these scholars were alive today, they would be refuting these Greek philosophies and these Greek ideas. They wouldn't be refuting the ideas in the past, they'd be refuting the incorrect ideas that are post-Islam that affect us now. And yet again, we have another situation here where we have Muslims who want to always talk about Dajjal and Mahdi in the future and want to talk about the Prophet ﷺ and his Sahaba in the past and never address the present. So we will go into the future and then we'll address the future again and then we'll address the past, but we never address the situation that we are facing us. We can see that the Prophet ﷺ is facing it directly. These are directly aimed at him to remove himself from calling to this deen. Why? Because this deen is a deen that will dominate all other deens. And this is what the Quraysh knew. And the Quraysh, like any previous prophet experience would know, we would know that the ones with power and authority and wealth and fame are the first ones to feel that they're going to lose that when a new system reorganizes society based on a different set of values. So obviously the mala, the rulers, they would be the first to go against the Prophet ﷺ. Why did the Prophet ﷺ go to the rulers? Because like Musa ﷺ went to Fir'aun, Musa ﷺ did not just go and debate and argue with the baker, he actually went directly to Fir'aun. Why? It's because these people are the rulers, these people are the ones who affect the situation of the Banu Israel, whereas with the Quraysh, these people have the major effect on the lives of all of the people, whether they are Muslim and whether they live upon Islam. Moving on very quickly, this is the reason that led up to the boycott period. There were other reasons as well. For example, the Banu Hashim and the Abdul Muttalib tribe, a lot of them, they were obviously becoming Muslim, and the other Muslims, they were able to flee. The ones who didn't have protection, they were fleeing to Abyssinia. So the Quraysh wanted to stop this and prevent Muslims from being able to either escape or to remain there with protection. And finally, what led to the boycott period was the conversion of Umar al-Khattab and Hamza. And with the conversion of Umar al-Khattab, the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were able to pray. And with Hamza radiallahu anhu also, there was a protection of the Prophet ﷺ and many of the other Sahaba. And for that reason, this is the reasons in fact that led to the boycott. Inshallah, in the next video, I will go into some of the details into the boycott and explain the Amul Huzn, the year of sorrow that took place after. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم.